What's happening, guys? We're back again today for another video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. This time around, we're going to be talking about some of the latest updates from Kiesel Guitars. You guys might have checked out some of my recent videos. I have reviewed several models. I have done some FAQ videos, some things that may help you figure out like what features and specs may work best if you're thinking about ordering a Kiesel. So be sure to link those in the description down below. As far as 2025 updates, it looks like we have some interesting developments from Kiesel. Starting off with one of their first improvements, it looks as though they have taken the time to revise their neck heels on both their bolt-on and neck-through models. I always wondered years past, like why Kiesel used a square heel as far as like their bolt-on construction. Most of the heels did have a little bit of an angle. It kind of helped a little bit. I know when they introduced the A2, which I've got my A2 right back there, if you want to check out the review I did on that. The A2 is one of the first models that got their, I guess you could call like their second gen bolt-on neck heel. So it was a little bit thinner, not quite as bulky as some of their past like standard like 4-bolt constructions, and it was a little bit more comfortable, but it still had that square heel, which I always thought that was a little goofy. I am glad to see they're now offering a more comfortable, like a radius, like round heel. They've also added like that rear bevel on the back of the body as well. You know, I'd have to put hands on one to really see what kind of improvements as far as like how it actually translates to playability. So far, I think I've heard some really good things. Sounds like a lot of people are very happy with it. I'm sure this would only stand to further improve an already amazing instrument. So definitely glad to see that for the bolt-on models. Moving on to the neck throughs, I think this is also another area where it looks like they've done an amazing job as far as like shifting that heel down. So it looks like you've got more of an aggressive carve to provide greater access and further improve ergonomics. Looks like there's going to be more production involved in this from what I gather, learning from some of their FAQ videos. More time consuming, you know, more sanding and shaping, all that kind of stuff. So obviously it does factor in, looks like a pretty noticeable price increase. My personal opinion, I feel like at another 200 bucks, you know, that is a pretty solid bump in price. I really don't feel like there is anything wrong per se with their previous neck through construction. So no complaints. I mean, I'm sure they play amazing. Very exciting to see this, but in my personal opinion, I just don't know if it to me would really be worth it, you know, as far as an additional $200 increase as opposed to like their previous neck through construction. So, I mean, at the end of the day, inflation is always going to be a thing. All companies are going to eventually have to raise their prices. It's just something that is always going to happen. So I guess it does make sense if you're already going to have to increase your prices, right, as far as like the baseline in order to produce these instruments. I mean, no harm in making further improvements, right? So really no complaints. I mean, I'm always kind of more of like a bolt-on guy anyway. So it looks like most of their models are not really that much more in terms of the base price. So nothing devastating, but definitely a little bit more of a steeper hike as far as the neck throughs. So not the end of the world. And always, again, glad to see some improvements. Looks like they also have a new model. The Kira appears to be like a single cut version of the A2. I like the idea of like a single cut A2. I think that's pretty cool. You know, it's definitely something they haven't really done in the past. I know some people, I've seen people comment and post things before, like people asking for like a Zeus with the headstock. So I think that's pretty close. Definitely always excited to see some new models. Now, as far as the Zeus and Osiris models, looks like they have received some updates. You've got the Osiris being the double cut, the Zeus always the single cut. Same thing, looks like they've updated the bolt-on neck heels. They've also added the access jack. My experience, I've liked the access jack pretty well. The A2, as you guys know, is like their first model to have both the standard output jack as well as the rear access jack. I think it's nice to have the option. I mean, just depending like if you're sitting or standing, you know, if you're sitting down at a desk versus maybe on stage, I can understand like it is nice to be able to go either way. So no harm in that. And again, like kind of looking at a nice added feature that's been standardized on most of their models. I can't really complain again about a price increase. As far as the O2 and the Z2, they've basically just kind of taken that same body shape, that update from the A2. So you can see they have kind of more of that slightly like offset, sort of like more aggressive carve like on that lower side. And you can see they also have like that updated bevel as well. So I'm still a big fan of the regular Zeus, regular Osiris. I still enjoy playing mine, so really no complaints. I'm still a big fan of the Osiris, still an amazing guitar. So, you know, if you're looking for a bargain, maybe with some of these new introductory models, maybe now's the time, hop on Guitar Center used, slide on down to Reverb, maybe find yourself some bargains, you know. Perhaps sometimes people get excited when something new comes out. The first thing they do, they basically just look at their guitar rack and think about what they can sell or trade in to fund the next build. So now's possibly a good time to save. As for the K series, it looks like the price has gone up pretty significantly, going from right at 4,000 now at 4,400 base price. Obviously the K series was already a neck through. They did update the heel on that one as well. It goes without saying the Kiesel K series always had amazing fret access. So, I mean, I'm sure the revised heel is only gonna stand to improve even more, but I don't think it's gonna be really a huge dramatic difference. I know with the base price being a little high, it does kind of feel like, I guess some of the value is just a little bit diluted, but you know, the time, the focus, the attention to detail that goes into making that separate line of guitars. I can definitely understand, you know, price increases are always gonna be a thing, but I do feel like back in the day when you could buy a K series like for $36.99, man, that really feels like a steal by today's standards. So the thing about a K series, I mean, I guess if you're gonna get one, they don't really ever have sales on them. So I guess now would be the time, just because like as time moves forward and costs always continue to rise, I guess it can really only go up. It's also pretty interesting looking at like their new like acoustic A2. I believe it is called the AC2, if I'm not mistaken. Really innovative design. I can't say I've really quite seen anything like it before, as with all their models, like highly customizable. Looks like there's a lot of different ways you could configure these guitars. So, you know, for people that are not quite looking for a standard solid body electric, if you don't want like a big bulky acoustic, kind of almost like a hybrid style, I think this is definitely something a little bit outside the box. You know, for somebody that's already got like so many things, I think this also provides like a good opportunity for people that they've already got everything. So now if you want something that's totally different, you're not like duplicating another guitar that you already have like a dozen of, I think it's really cool. Something different for sure. Probably not my cup of tea. I've never been like really much of a semi-hollow kind of guy, but you know, for those that are looking to step outside the box, now you have even more options. So just a quick video today, just kind of talking about some of the updates, you know, in the Kiesel Guitars lineup for 2025. Let me know if you guys have any exciting builds in the oven. Always like to hear your thoughts. Share your comments below. Subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.